Yo, what's up, IG? Happy Friday. Good morning. I'm actually in New Jersey right now, going to go see my guys over at Flippin' NJ. Talk to business, see what they're up to, look at their operation. And then later tonight, I'm at the bull ride. So, New York. Yo, what's up, guys? So I just got to the office here with Flipstarters, and check this out. I thought I had a decent office. At least we're building something, but this thing is crazy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is RubenFlipsHomes from Flippin' NJ. I just wanted to give everybody who showed up yesterday for the meetup with Maxwell. I just want to say thank you to everybody. This was absolutely amazing. We did not expect to have the amount of people that showed up. Energy was phenomenal. I mean, everybody's still buzzing over it. It was just great. Max, thank you very much for taking the time out of your weekend. I mean, you were only up here for a couple days, and you spent time with us, and you did the meetup. I mean, it was great to be able to sit down, talk to you about our experiences, share our experiences, go over the industry, business. I mean, thank you very much, man. We really, really appreciate you. So I did an Instagram Live, and I did an Instagram Live of the event, and I wanted to be able to share it with everybody who was unable to make it, or even the people that were here, if you want to review it. I
don't know if this question's been asked yet.
It don't matter. You can ask it anyway. This is selfish time.
Gentrification. I see that wholesalers could be slightly responsible in a way with gentrification. And I know I ain't trying to stop anybody's spread, but I am level and I do care about my hood. So when it comes to gentrification, how can we deal with that? Make money, but still be very mindful of who's investing in our community.
Yeah, so what is your definition of gentrification? I think there's...
No, I don't have a bad thing about it.
No. What is your definition?
Refinement, upgrade, and rebuild, renew, revitalize. Yeah. But I want that to be the case in the people. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be one of the people that implement the regentrification in the minds of the people.
Yes,
not necessarily the property.
That's why I travel to do this.
Right. So so as wholesalers, and I haven't started yet, but I am.
Yeah. What
is the key to make sure that if you could think about that for a second, like what's the strategic way to kind of stay righteous in how you make your
bread? So I think there's no right or wrong answer for this, right? This is just an opinion question. I think gentrification, in my definition, is something that is systematic, that is put into place, as in the crime goes up, they shut down houses, they stop the improvements, they wait a few years, decade, and then they come in, make sure everybody moves out, and they start buying and rezoning these things into something else. I think that's my definition of regentrification. Mm-hmm. Now, if you own a house that you inherited in the hood from your grandma, and you don't pay the taxes on it, that's your fault, right? And it's going to go up for tax sale, and anybody can buy it. And so I think the problem with that, I think we're trying to stop the problem too late when it gets to a point where it's like at a sale point. Mm-hmm. It's more about the education of what real estate can do for you, right? And I think that's why it's important to educate everybody about, because everybody has their own community, right? Yeah. That what real estate can do, because I'll be honest, like prices in North Carolina, so East Winston is slowly changing into a place to be. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because Willie inherited a property from his grandma, Willie Mae, and he decided he don't want to live there. Mm-hmm. Nor did he decide he wanted to pay taxes. So therefore, you left the decision into the state and the county to decide what they're going to do with your land, and the land then goes to somebody else that wants to buy that property for $10,000. Mm-hmm. Willie had the money because he got the J's on. Right?
Right.
But he decided that wasn't a priority to him. Mm-hmm. So we can't stop that problem so late in the game. We got to stop it early in the game with education. So I think it's going to take time. Hopefully we're not too late to where you don't have a place to live.
Right.
Right? So I think as wholesalers, I think you can't really stop anything. But I think what you can do is educate. As you're in this room, spread the education to other people so that they can understand what the power of real estate is. And as you make money in wholesaling, put it in the right place.
Well, I was thinking in terms of when it comes to the wholesale, I was thinking, and maybe I could be wrong because I'm still learning, the investor. Because I've seen where, I'm assuming maybe, that the investor may not be involved in the place that they're investing in. And that's the part where we're marrying, correct, in terms of the seller and the investor. So how, is there a way where you would say you could kind of be mindful of the kind of people you would like to solicit that too? Like I know for Jersey, the big deal for us is New Yorkers coming here. So,
because they're running out of space.
Yeah, and money.
Yeah.
In terms of affordability. So I noticed in my community of North, and
it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah, is and this is what I'm going to bring. I came to you so I can bring this back to our community.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of how do we house people? How do we find conscious investors? People that's going to spend money. But I know New York money is a little bit longer than Jersey money. So, like, is that something that we can kind of target too in terms of the kind of investors that we would like?
I think you can try to make a conscious effort for it, but I think that most investors already have an investment strategy.
Right. Gotcha.
So they've identified Newark.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are starting to move to Newark. I've heard about the whole, but we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you can advertise a property for sale, and then if somebody comes to buy it, you can say no, which is against the Fair Housing Act, 68. So you can't really determine
Gotcha.
like how it happens. I understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. But I think, like I said before, it starts with the educational process of it. Because there's an upside to people wholesaling, is that Newark is going to look good. Now, it might move people out, but it's like, how long is it going to stay not looking good?
That's true.
Right? So, and then we have to educate ourselves. It's like, because I know they're selling properties in Newark at one point for $1.
Yeah.
No, not anymore. No, I know, not anymore. But
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
But I know it's true.
I know there's certain auctions where you can buy properties for thousands of dollars.
Yeah, there was a Valentine's Day, a city auction for couples. Yeah. That was like
That
3
means
years
they're
ago.
really trying to revitalize the area. And I think it just starts with education.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I do some of this, because you can have all the education in the world, but without money, you can't really make action.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's easy for us to get our foot in the door as wholesalers and do that. Because I buy houses in the hood where I'm from. I fix them up and I rent them out. You know, I've had this conversation a dozen times, and I don't think I have a perfect answer. I don't think anybody has a perfect answer.
Yeah.
But I know the answer is education.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot. So I heard about you 2 weeks ago. I watched all the YouTube videos and pods. I really appreciate your content.
Thank you for
I want
the
to
support.
start with that. But okay, so I went driving for dollars. I'm from Long Island. I found about 20 properties. I went to the tax county office and I pulled up the information on them, and about 7 of them had referendums, which basically means like the bank owns the property, I would presume. So I believe that leaves me with like 10 possibly profitable situations.
Yeah.
I was talking about this a little bit with this gentleman here, but now if they own more on the mortgage than the property of the house, I just became aware you could do a short sale, but
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do. Like Lenny said, he sources it out. He doesn't
We
even
source
do
it out to people that just specialize in that.
okay, so someone as myself looking for their first wholesale deal, should I only look at, out of those 10 places, a house that their mortgage and their taxes and liens are less than the APV of
Yeah, because what
ARV
you're
of the house?
going to be selling is equity, and if it
Okay.
doesn't have it, you're not in a good equity position.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as a new one, keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
I mean, you're taking action. You're driving. You're finding all these properties. Just keep going, because you're going to run into these, and then out of those, he pulled 100 properties. You might
Yeah.
find 200, and you might find the one that's going to bring you a $20,000 check.
Okay.
Right? Then you can do something else to scale that same operation you're doing. But keep at it. I mean,
Okay.
you're taking action, you're driving, you're finding properties. It's just not going to come as fast as you want it to. But
Okay.
if you stay consistent, it will come,
Okay.
and the reward will be great.
So what are some key indicators now that I'm about to go back on my computer and process all this data that I should be looking for? That's a great situation.
One is one. I heard you say you went down to the county.
Yeah, it was far too. Yeah, it was a drive.
It's
yeah.
online, so everything.
My county's one of the only ones that was offline, so I had
Wow.
to like drive to go there.
Well, you know what? That's an advantage. So you look at it as
Yeah.
I can't sit home in North Carolina and find out what's going on in your county.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
So
seriously,
that's an
yeah.
advantage. So take that drive, however you got to do to get there, and keep doing that. It's a process. But do you understand that there's a barrier to entry to your
Yes,
county
I
that is
agree.
higher, which doesn't allow somebody like me to sit on the couch and pull data and RVM the crap out of your county.
Okay.
Right? You get what I mean?
So I'd have to call the owners, I get in touch with them, and figure out how much they own in tax liens, and then their mortgage. All that has to be less than the potential, I guess, ARV or the potential, like the price, the 70% off minus the
Yep.
my fee and all of that.
Yep. And I did a video.
I saw
called
that. You had it on the whiteboard.
Taxes. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was one to watch to understand how it has to be lower, but you're gonna find that diamond in the rough. You just keep
Okay.
doing it.
So
Because
one of
we
those.
all run across properties every day where we try to like do something with the property, then we get the call that, oh, this person's upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a process of elimination. Just keep doing it.
Just keep going.
Keep at it. 2 weeks, and you found me 2 weeks ago, and you probably take action in more than half of these people in this room.
Yeah.
Your pods are good. I really like the keynote one. That was really good.
Awesome. Thank you for your support. man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, just keep going. Yeah, throw 'em up.
My name is Maya. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy everybody's here.
Yeah.
Okay. Best lead source for lease option deals. If you can kind of break down lease options, and then the best lead source to tax.
So lease option is an exit strategy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So those usually come available when you start doing more sub-2 deals. Correct?
Correct. I wouldn't know where the best place to get them would be. You know, most of the. What was your other question? Because maybe your other question.
I said, yeah. What's the best? Kind of break down what lease option is for maybe those of us who don't understand, and then how the strategy to kind of get those leads and process
Your
them.
lease option you would do when you're doing a subject to a deal, right? So you would have to buy the property. You would have to negotiate the deal with whoever it was that you were negotiating the deal with, and you would have to increase what if they owe $100,000 and you're going to offer them $110,000, and you want to lease option it to whoever, then you would have to sell it for $140,000. All right.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I'm in one now. I bought a house subject to. Lady was going through a divorce with her husband. They recorded it. You might have seen it on YouTube. We actually bought the house. She was looking for. We negotiated down. She walked away with $10,000. She had a balance of $198, which basically put me around $210. The house is move-in ready condition. There's probably $700 worth of paint, but the value of the property is $250. Now, a wholesale deal, it's not a wholesale deal, but it made sense for sub-2. And what lease option is you find somebody that has less than stellar credit. They're not financeable by the bank at the moment, but they work a good job and they got $40,000 in the bank, right? So these type of people are all over the country. So what happens is you start to build a database, and how you build that database is you use bandit signs or anything else like that, and you start saying, hey, look, lease to own. And you'll get these calls coming in, and you say, hey, look, I don't have a property right now, but let me get some information from you. When I get something, I'll shoot it out to you. It's the same as like finding a regular buyer. And what we did and what we're doing now is there is about a $40,000 spread on that property. Now, what we will collect up front is about $15,000 down payment for the property, right? So we'll be in the clear $5,000, and that leaves us with about $35,000 on the back end once they do qualify for a mortgage. Now that's important. You have to they got to be almost ready within 24 months, 18 to 24 months, and they need to be ready. I like 12 to 18 months.
Ready
So-
that they actually show you that that they're in the process of getting
Correct. So I usually pair them with a mortgage broker if they don't have one, and a mortgage broker will give me a timeline and say, look, I can get this guy ready in 18 months for sure, as long as he follows what I say he's going to do. I usually don't mark up the rent beyond with the mortgages. Right? Some people do. You can. I usually don't because I'm giving that break. Because on a deal like that, I'm going to profit, $40,000 once it sells.
And if they stop paying, then obviously their money that they put down.
Yeah.
Max to 15,000.
Yeah.
It will go towards the house, cost of the house.
So if I'm selling for $250, so we agree. So the house is worth $250. First of all, in a subject like in a property like that, you're going to sell it for more than $250, right? Because you're going to work in that appreciation of the
14,000 if down payment.
Yeah, so I'm explaining to you. So the house is worth $250 on the market now. I'm actually going to sell it, let's say $260, right? And then I'm going to say, hey, look, I'll need a down payment of $15,000. Yep. So that brings it back down. I walk away with a small profit of $5,000 or whatever it is because I put down the 10 in the beginning to get the homeowner out. And now they're paying the mortgage. The mortgage is $1,368 on this house, right? So they're paying the mortgage every month. We're due diligently watching that. And they're qualifying for the mortgage. And when they qualify for the mortgage, we have a price already down pat for $260. They gave me $15. They now owe me $245, right? The balance on the mortgage was $198 when we started. So I get the difference between $198 and the $245.
I thought you was going to have the spread.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get the full amount between what's owed in the bank. So that's why equity is important. Yeah. Yes, sir. Y'all can just shout too.
My name's Gary. I just have a question. What would you recommend? Because I'm kind of young, and when I go to a seller's house, I'm speaking for myself. We have done deals and everything, but I feel like there's a barrier that happens because of the serious. And I just want to when I negotiate with the seller, I know it's a deal, but I feel like, I create a story. But I feel like if I create a story.
Let me hear your story.
My dad's the one with the cash. He just has me going out like doing all the.
Change your story. All right? That's not convincing to me. Say, look, I like to do something. Look, my grandpa, God willing, hope he's not that's what it is. Say, my grandpa always wanted me to be in real estate, and he passed away and he left me some money. And with that money, I want to fulfill his dream of me always being in real estate. Now, this is going to be my third investment property that I'm going to buy. You see where I'm going now? So I have that money. My grandpa left me. I'm building that dream. This is going to be my third investment property. Right? You're independent at that point. Versus, hey, this is my daddy money. I'm just going to spend it.
Well, yeah, no, it's not. It's like we have. Maybe I worded it wrong. I just feel like when I try to negotiate, they just don't take me as serious because I'm not a decision maker.
Because you just put yourself as not the decision maker. You said your dad. When you say, listen, my grandfather always wanted me to be in real estate. He passed away, left me some money. I bought 2 properties. This is going to be my third one. Right? So you gave yourself money and experience.
Yep.
In that whole line right there. You get what I mean? He's got some of that.
Just add on that.
Yeah.
If you're presenting yourself as the new buyer, how do you then bring in investors and
by setting expectation.
In the very beginning, though.
Yeah.
Right?
You
I'm
said
saying,
beginning.
if I tell them, hey, my dad, or however you want to go about it, is going ahead and we're going to close on this, and then you have a ton of buyers that want to see the property, isn't the seller going to be like, who are these people?
So this is a owner-occupied property.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you want to do is set that expectation up front early, and you do that with occupied property. You just say, hey, listen, I'm going to need about 3 dates that are convenient between now and close. I need to bring my contractors by. I need to bring an inspector by, and those are your 3 dates because the house that's occupied, you need to set. That's your parameters, and you need to allow yourself. I need 3 dates that work well for you. That I'm going to be bringing my contractor by. I'm going to need to do an inspection, and then I'm going to need to bring in one of my partners that help me do the rehabs.
Okay.
Because you can't bring in like 20 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because sometimes I'll have 6 to 10 buyers where I want to see the property.
Yeah. So what I would say is most of my buyers, they don't even really look at properties most of the time.
They're just looking at the outside. They already know the drill.
Do you do videos too?
All of that stuff. I give them enough information to where they don't need to go inside. So there's this thing called
Matterport.
It's even cheaper. I got something cheaper. It's like $100. And it attaches to your iPhone.
Yeah.
It's called
360.
Yeah, but it's made for real estate. It's called iStage. iStage. and go in there and do the same thing Matterport does, and that way you give a full 360 of the thing. When you shoot it out, first of all, when you shoot that out, it's going to separate you from any wholesaler. People are like, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're going to be able, people are going to buy it on site.
We do Matterports for properties like when we know it's a hot lead.
Matterport is like $4,000.
Yeah, we got one here, but we got one because it made sense. Because you're not going to get into every property, right? 5 times. So the investors that we deal with, we have to do the Matterport of the property. We're in there once, and if we're bringing in anybody else into the property, that just means that they're buying the property.
They're serious.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I'm pulling the trigger today. I just wanted to check the system or something.
And a Matterport, really, if you have a really hot deal, it's really only going to cost you about $200, right? So yeah.
I got a Matterport too.
Oh yeah.
I just have a piggyback on for basically a
Sure.
suggestion for you. Because the baby thing, I would suggest that you leverage everyone who you work with. So your attorney, they have 20 years experience. The title people, they have 15 years experience. Your contractor has this much experience. So you basically are positioning yourself and saying, my team has over 50 years experience. I just happen to be the youngest one on the team.
Yep. Because when I became a real estate agent, when I left the military at 21, I was 21 selling houses at $500,000. Right? You just got to position yourself. The same thing. The team. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Just the young one.
So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is that you're framing yourself within a certain context to overcome people's objections.
Because if you know objections up front,
I'm dealing with it already.
That's business in general.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So are there situations like, it sounds like you have a fantastic presentation and you already overcome a lot of people's objections when you're introducing yourself to them and the system that you have. Are there cases where you still have to overcome objections throughout the process, and what would you say?
Sometimes you are going to have difficult sellers, and there's really just stuff you're not. I mean, look, I'm a black guy buying real estate in the South. Right. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? I've been in some houses where like, the only reason I'm in there is because I got money. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's happened, but I got the deal.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have objections that you're gonna have to overcome. The good thing is some objections are gonna be normal. They happen every time. I can't speak for circumstances that pop up.
Sure.
But the same ones, the ones where people say, hey, they don't believe me. I need I need this, I need that, I need proof of funds. You can overcome those by setting the stage. And it's like if you were looking for a girlfriend and every weekend you went on 2 dates. And by the time you get to the middle of the year, you're going to be an expert at this dating thing. You know what I mean? It's just the same thing. When I walk into it's a date. I'm walking into the house and I need to start picking out things that I can relate to them with, and you're really not spending much time talking about the property.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you're saying like build rapport.
Yep.
You're going through your experience. You're okay, I know about this neighborhood. Oh, did you know that thing? And you're kind of like warming them up to you, so you're a person rather than just some dude with cash in his trench coat, like looking to get their house.
I made this analogy yesterday when we were talking. Right? Let's just say I got this TV right there, and I'm trying to sell it because I just bought a new one. Right? So I'm trying to sell it for $250, and I'm going to put it on Craigslist and Facebook. Right? So if I call you up from Facebook and say, hey, look, I want to buy a TV, but would you take $175? You're going to say no. Right? But if your friend, your neighbor, somebody you know comes to you and says, hey, you sell it to me for $175, I'm looking to put a TV in my basement. But you know what? Yeah, here you go. You see what I'm saying? Right. So being friends and having that relationship with somebody, even if you can build it very quickly, you're going to be able to get in the door of somebody because it's just the psychology of a human. So objections you'll build them, but there is places online where you can find standard objections and just setting the stage of but damn, this dude just answered all my questions in the first 5 minutes. I had one for him.
Of your explaining your scenario.
Yep.
Right. So
because I'm setting the precedent. I'm walking when you know you're pre-qualified for a car, and you've got the bank just says this was a $50,000 check. Your attitude is different walking on that lot versus somebody that's coming on their lot looking to get qualified when they get there. Have the attitude of the guy that's already got the check in his hand. So when the salesman starts talking about these features, like, relax. I don't need. Let's just something else. You know what I mean?
So if I may, your mindset is when you go, you want the homeowner to sell them on giving you their house.
Correct. I'm buying.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
selling.
like they weren't like they're like, hey, I want you to buy it versus
Yep.
somebody
And that's
else.
why I like to go in negative.
Oh, right.
Right. So I make
takeaway.
I make myself the last option to them. Right. So when I walk into a house, usually like I don't talk crap about the house either. I walk into the house and it's like, you know what? This house is really not that bad. I mean, there could be a hole in the roof. I'll say the same thing. This house is really not that bad. You know what? You know, it said, have you thought about listing it with the real estate agent? Yeah, I just don't want people running through here. Or the last agent told me I need to fix this, this, and this. Agents got to stop that, by the way. Just list the damn house as is. Right? Yeah. Really? Yeah, of course. So you said not us. You said we'll do that. So
We wear two hats.
when I walk into the house and I'm like, hey, listen, you know, this house looks pretty good. Have you thought about listing it with a real estate agent? No, I don't want to do that. I just checked off that option.
Right.
And I said, listen, have you thought about fixing it up yourself and put it on the market because you could probably get X, Y, Z? I don't want to do that. I don't have the money to do that. But wait, I know some guys that are hard money lenders that'll give you money based upon, you know, not your credit score, but this asset. You know, you hire some contractors, take about 6 months to get this all fixed up, you put it on the market, and you probably sell it in 90 days after that. You're like, damn, I don't want to do that either. So what did I do?
What's happening?
It's psychology.
He's taking away every single objection.
Well, he's basically setting up all the roles that he's going to play in the transaction, and they're knocking them all down. And he's saying, all right, I'm going to do it, right?
So now when I boil it down, and I'm like, so you're really looking for cash right now then? Like, yeah. So I just eliminated every other option they have when it comes to selling a house. Guess who you got to play ball with now? Me. Start selling me a house right now.
Max, I have a question.
Yes.
So if you know one of your exit strategies or one of your acquisition strategies is subject to, why would you initially offer them cash to know those?
Because I want to give them the option to know that the cash is not possible. Right? So you give people options. You say, listen, I can give you $50,000 cash, or I can give you $75,000, but it's got to be on these terms.
Okay.
Once again, I'm eliminating the real thing. What do you really want?
Okay.
Yes.
If you give your options and they want to take you up on it, like you said, oh, I can give you a hard money limit. It's like, well, could you show me how that works?
Absolutely. You do. Yep.
Okay.
And they're going to call you back. Because how many of you guys have ever tried to get hard money for the first time? It ain't happening. So I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I had somebody do that. Yeah.
What's your strategy on actually, on what you actually want to make your offer on as far as with the house? So let's say if you saw a house you got it for dollars, whatever, you look it up on Zillow, and Zillow says like the ARV is like $300,000. It's you and another guy, Carlos Rio that I follow.
Okay.
You right? And so he said on his job that he normally does a strategy of like 50 to 70% of like what the ARV deducted from the ARV. Exactly.
Yeah, they're in a totally different market.
Okay. So yeah, so what would be your strategy on how much you think in going into the appointment, what in your mind, what the actual number?
So we have, how many of you guys have seen the wholesaling calculator in the group? A couple people back there. It's literally the ARV minus 30%, which was what make it a deal, minus your fee. No, sorry, minus repairs, minus your fee. Now you're in a hotter market, so it might not be 30%. It might be you only need minus 20%. Right? So you would take a $100,000 property, minus 20%, you got 80, right? Minus the repairs, let's just say 20, you're at 60, minus your fee, let's just say 10, you're at 50. Right? So your maximum allowable offer to make 10 grand, if all your numbers are ballparkish right, you need to offer 50 grand. Do you walk into the house offering 50 grand?
No.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, my
Can you
first offer
full
is
screen?
15% less
Full screen.
than 50 than whatever that number is, because they might take it. Right? And then you work your way up. Now, if you're okay with making, now here's the thing: if we're negotiating hard and $10,000 ain't getting it, I'll keep going until, I'll take the $2 grand. But that's if you got to really, really do all your strategies before you start giving up cash. It's yellow. Maria, go. Yeah.
What's up, brother?
How you
Good to see
doing?
again.
Likewise.
I have a deal now. I'm under contract, and my seller went in my head. So I have a buyer now. and he's been in for 7 days.
What I would say,
that someone circumvented me,
is work on
I'd
the
be offering
buyers.
more
If you
money.
can qualify
So I didn't do anything like cloud the tiger.
ask them what they're willing to pay on the property.
Can you repeat the question?
So what he says is he just got a deal under contract, found a buyer, and his seller went ghost. He's like, his buyer's ready to close in 7 days. Well, he's in fear that somebody around him had offered more than he offered the first time, and he's asking what he should do. He said he has not clouded the title yet, and I'm asking Lenny since he lives here.
So what we do, when something like that happens, and it's already shaky with the seller, and we can't find them, then we know the rest of the deal is going to be the same way. We don't even waste any time and effort on that, right? I know, because we're doing a volume business over here, right? So we can't, chase the guy everywhere. Because if we know, if he disappeared, he ain't coming back, or it's going to be a headache. So
he ain't going to show up to the closing table.
Yeah, he ain't gonna, no, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. So, but there could be a legitimate reason, right?
Yeah.
What ways have you tried to contact the person?
Just been calling. I mean, I haven't gone to his address yet. I mean, he just. I'm sure that someone circulated. He was enthused about it.
Yeah.
And
have you texted him, the older guy?
No, he's a pretty young guy.
Have you text him?
I text him. Left a lot of messages. So my attorney's going to send tow letters out Monday and call him up like that. But I'm still trying to do something rest.
Did you put a deposit down? Because if you put a deposit, then it's a bond. He can't do that, right?
Did you put anything down?
No.
That's the problem.
So I used to do the same thing. So don't even trip. I used to not put down money until I started doing a lot of deals, and my attorney was like, at least put down $100. And that $100 is a considerable amount of money to a judge.
Correct.
To lock them into a contract. Show up to the house, or have the attorney call, and have the attorney leave a voicemail. People are afraid of attorneys. Have them leave a voicemail, not threatening. Say, hey, this is attorney such and such. I understand you have a contract and we're ready to close. Give me a call. Whatever. I wouldn't give up just yet. I know he has a volume-based business, but you need to make sure it's not a legitimate reason. Right? You might be shopping at Target one day. Just show up. Next question.
I'm glad he asked that question because that happened to me. I ended up calling the seller with a different number. Then he said, all of a sudden, I decided I'm not gonna sell it. So I'm glad you answered that, but answer one of my questions. I have another question. I have another situation where a person says, I'm a cash buyer, I told them, they say all that stuff, and then they end up just holding up the property.
Yeah, so here's what
ends up being, they want to sell it to somebody.
So what is your deposit required for buyers?
I've learned to give them 24 to 48 hours to put their deposit.
No. So how we operate, right? Remember, you control the real estate. And if a cash buyer says he's going to sign it, he signs the contract. And in my contract, with my assignment, it says this agreement is not executed until you deposit your money at the title company. So you ain't got a deal until you deposit your money. And you need to be depositing, like minimum, your market probably $5,000. Where we're at, we do $2,500. Ain't no wholesaler gonna be walking around making $2,500 deposits. Right? So don't be anxious to sell your property and not to vet the buyer.
You know what we do? We just tell them, yeah, no problem. We'll just keep on marketing it until you come up with the deposit. That's it.
Exactly. We don't stop marketing until we get that call that it's been, the deposit's been made. Yep.
I just wondered, how y'all doing? I took Tommy's class about 7 months ago, so in the last 60 days, we made $28,000.
Nice. Yeah. Hit that bell. There you go.
Auction.com is a gold mine because the people are already motivated, and I made a couple of dollars. What's the website? Auction.com.
Now explain that strategy because I don't know it.
Auction.com is a website that's linked to the sheriff department to all your county. So what I did is put my county in. I found out how much the people owe, and it tells you on 50% of them. So my first deal, the lady owed $156. So I said, is there any meat on the bone for me to sell it? So I took pictures of her property, went over there, in 60 days, the sheriff department was going to take her property. So she's motivated already. Like, she's scratching her head, like, either I'm going to get thrown out or sell it. So my strategy is I offer them money to move. And guess what? They sign their contract. I'll give you $2,000 to move.
That's just a pre-foreclosure.
Pre-foreclosure.
When you knock on the door or you call them?
No, I knocked on the door. I got to take action.
Door knock.
Yeah, right on the door.
Straight to the source.
Yeah, don't be
Go
afraid
right
to
to the
knock on
source.
the source said don't disturb. It's against the law to disturb. So that's what it
Yeah,
says.
that's it. It's a risk. But
Yeah.
is you motivate, you want to get thrown out?
Reward, right?
You know,
if you're a licensed agent, no,
Don't
don't do that.
trespass. Don't
If you
trespass on the property.
Yeah, if you, because you got to understand, you solved the problem for that lady because there was a dilemma.
Yes.
I'm either gonna get kicked out or I'm gonna make a few dollars to go get me an apartment.
And her number one question was, if I sell this property, I said, your credit's already, I said, but that can be clean. I said, but if they take it and you went to foreclosure.
7 years
Yeah,
before you
that's
buy
what I
it.
told her. And she said, well.
Works for me every time.
Sign.
Works for me every
And
time.
you could go to your sheriff department and pay $10 and get the list of who's losing their property.
So one thing that because in solving problems, you got to add the pro versus the con. And one thing we say is, listen, if this foreclosure does take place, you know the minimum amount of time it's going to take you to the next time you can buy a house is 7 years. But if you have a few missed payments, 5 or 6 months, that'll fall off in 2 years if you sell the property prior to the foreclosure. But if you let the foreclosure go through, you ain't buying another house for 7+ years.
People getting yelled at all the time.
And I offer them credit justice. It's a company that cleans your credit in 90 days.
See,
I sell that package.
Solving problems.
So.
I think I like it. I don't know if people paying attention. Like, I come from a door-to-door background. Go straight to the source. Like, I'm people like, yeah, this lady about to lose her house in 6 days. I'm going to send her a letter. I mean, some people don't have time for that. There's a lot of people around here aren't educated. Most people get up and just leave. Like, go straight to the door. You just hand them straight up the middle. Bam. Either they're going to answer, they not, or you follow back.
The name of my company is Let Us Help You.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing. You gotta let us help you, and I help you. That's what we're doing. That's what makes the money. Marketing yourself, and helping the.
So you said you made in the last 60 days, you made
$28,000.
$28,000. So you made $14,000 a month. How many of y'all made $14,000 a month?
It's not counting the deals I messed up. You know what I messed up. But I got stuff on the table now that's going to close next week, and I just put a property on yesterday. I use social media. I haven't even been doing bandit signs, and they going crazy over this one property. So, like you said, I told them whoever leave the deposit, it's your property.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say, yo, man, we cool though.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Business, All right, y'all. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Two things for clarity that you mentioned. One was if you're a real estate agent, don't do that. Why?
They have you have ethic rules that they have to follow. And then there's rules in certain states. Now, I'm not familiar with New Jersey, but you can't go after a foreclosed property owner in some type of way or manner. It's just some ethics behind it.
Thank you for that. And the second one was when you're giving cash to the homeowner.
I never give cash.
Or what method?
I check.
Okay. So it's only good until they cash it, or like?
No. Once I
So as soon as you leave it in their hand, it's like.
So we print. My checks have receipts on the bottom of them. We can give them. They're going to cash it.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to acknowledge that they received it too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You had something to add to
No,
that?
I was going to ask him, but I think he was referring to when auction.com on certain homes it says do not disturb. Something like that. So as a real estate agent, I can't go knock on that door, but as just a regular person,
they can't.
You can be like, oh, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
But me as a real estate agent, because I know it says do not disturb, I can't go knock on that door. But I still don't say my feet
Yeah, as an agent, you can't use ignorance as an excuse.
Right.
I had some questions. Yes.
Okay, so in terms of using social media like Instagram, Facebook, what would be the best targeting audience for
So I don't think Instagram is a good place for that. I believe Facebook could be, and how I use Facebook is I pull data of people that are delinquent on their taxes, and I upload their data back into Facebook, and Facebook will go find them, and I'll market to them.
You have a video you did like a year ago, right?
Yeah, I have a video that I use on that to do that. Market 2 on Facebook, and if we have their first name, last name, city, state, address, because we skip trace them, we'll upload that into Facebook, and Facebook will go out and find them, and then we'll make an ad that is to their pain point. Are you behind on taxes? Blah 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 blah. I'm like, how in the hell did this show up to me?
This must mean something.
This must mean something. So that's how we use social to do things, and you have to do it at scale, right? So not a lot of money because the audience is so small, but you're looking at making $10 a day or something like that. Welcome. Way in the back. How you doing? And then you're next.
Bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, so she asked about when you go to a property and it's not a wholesalable deal, what are the other tools that I have in my tool belt? Well, the tools I talk about are exit strategies to the property. What we talked about was sub 2. I've done quite a few of those in my second year. Last year, my first year I did 0. I probably left about a dozen or so of those there. And it's because of lack of education. I wasn't willing to risk litigation just to chase a dollar. I needed to educate myself before I started to do it because it's tricky. So just different exit strategies that you can have with the property. Subject to comes to mind, land contracts come to mind, stuff like that. So in the beginning, I would focus, there's enough traditional real wholesale deals that you don't have to worry about adding tools to your tool belt yet. But as you start doing a couple deals a month and you start doing more marketing, you're going to start getting more and more demographics of people that have different issues, and you're going to be able to help them. I think we had him and then you. Yeah.
Can you repeat this?
So he said he was 16 years old and he was looking on how he can build momentum for the future, right? So one thing that's beautiful about this business is you actually, even though legally you can't sign contracts I think until you're 18, right? Even though I went to the military at 17. That was crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Didn't can't drink that, right?
Yeah.
To die, but not buy a house. Okay. So what you can do, if you're ready to go right now and you understand this, you're probably more tech savvy than most people in this room. And this entire business is about data. So if you understand data, then you need to start pulling data and you need to partner with somebody, maybe in your family, that can act as a figurehead to act on the data that you procure. You get what I'm saying? So you don't have to wait 2 years, because I wouldn't. There's a lot that, don't wait. Half of a watermelon is better than half of a grape. So don't wait the 2 years. Find somebody that is 18 or somebody that is older and say, look, I need you to be the figurehead for the stuff I'm about to give you. Somebody that you trust. You get what I mean? But I wish I was I wish I was where you were standing right now when I was 16. Yeah. I would be a billionaire. 16, I was chasing girls. Yeah, so a lot going on.
Doing that too.
You can still set some aside to that. If you get the money, they're going to chase you. Who's got a question? Just speak a little bit louder. No, so don't look at LLCs as anything other than it's a human, because a human had to create it. So I have 6 LLCs. So one marketing strategy that we have is we go after dissolved LLCs that have property, right? So we run the dissolved list from the Secretary of State website against the tax list and see who has property that dissolved already as a corporation, right? Because in the state of North Carolina, what means when you dissolve is that you didn't pay your $200 annual fee, which probably means you don't have the money. Which probably means this property over here, you ain't got no money for that either. You probably would like the money that's been offered you. So What I'm telling you is don't look at LLCs any different. To find out who owns the LLC, go to New Jersey SOS, which means New Jersey Secretary of State. Type in the name of the LLC. Look at the documents they use to form the LLC, and it's going to give. It's going to. Is it huh?
It's like $1.
It's $1. It's free in North Carolina. I don't know why you guys charge for everything up there. So isn't taxes already
Everything. Pay for everything.
Look at the form that they use to form the company, and it's going to give you the registered agent, which is usually an attorney or a registered company, and then it's going to give you the members, and that's who. Now you found the person.
It's actually at NJ.gov, but it's one of the departments on NJ.gov.
Thank you.
It's
I think you have.
I have to do a Google search to find it. To look up the dissolved.
Okay. No, I know.
Yeah, it just gives you the certificate number. That's what you got to pay for the search, like Lenny said.
Take pictures. No, what you're doing is perfectly fine. All you got to do is set the expectation with the seller that you live in New York, whatever. Is that right?
Well, I told him
Yeah, but because that means money, right? We say I'm in New York, right? So I get the idea behind it. It's great. Say, look, I'm going to send one of our picture takers or our media person. Perfect. I'm going to send the property manager to take some pictures, and once he takes some pictures and get back to me, I'll give you a call and we'll start negotiating better. But because you're doing it virtually, you have to be good at building rapport over the phone. And they're going to know this whole thing is going to be done virtually. Now you can send them contracts through DocuSign or whatever you use.
I closed 6 deals virtually. We started officially business in November, so we closed deals. So that it's just more of a...
It takes more steps.
Yeah, it's more steps. So I need to run 6 deals, so I think we
Yeah, so Michael Collins has been with me for over a year now. They know what's a deal and not's a deal, and they are incentivized on contracts, right? So they get $50 per contract. You guys are $50. Well, they live in the Philippines. $50 is a lot of money. So you incentivize them to that, and you say the reason why I'm incentivizing you to that because the less appointments I got to go on, then the better. But the reality is you're doing it over the phone. You're doing this full time?
Yeah, I quit my job.
So keep training your VAs as to what looks like a deal, but you almost don't want to have them give them that responsibility to create filters for you. You get what I mean? You're doing it full time. Create your own filters when you get them on the phone, because you're going to know in 3 minutes if it's bad or not, right?
Yeah, but how do you determine what I'm trying to say? Like, their son is 2 minutes. A lot of times, they're not interested. That's not. They're not interested.
Oh, so they're sending you people that are not interested?
They're sending people, and the person will say, "Well, I just want to hear it." So it's like, are you interested or not? I just want to hear a number to see if you're going to get something else.
So, yeah, so one of the questions or the statements that my VAs make is understand that we're investors and we do not buy property at retail. Right? And that sets it from right there. So there's not no, I'm going to give you an offer. It's, are you interested in actually selling your property and understand that we're an investor, so we can't buy property at retail.
Right, here's what they have. So I have a
Yep. Yeah. to pre-run it, correct? He's not a buyer. Yeah, he's not a buyer. Yeah. You know why he backed out? He knew he overpaid. And $5,000 loss was better than a $20,000 loss. Right? So he just gave you a bullcrap excuse. Or he wasn't a cash buyer at all, which was probably the case because he was overpaying. Because if somebody else paid you $20,000 less, right? That means they were educated to know that it wasn't worth the $73,000 that he was going to pay for it. But yes, highest and best cash offers do make sense. Started bidding. We usually bid a property like $3,000 over what we get it for, like a ridiculous price. So when we used to say, like, if we do highest and best, so we'll do highest and best on some of our vacant properties, but we'll start the bid like $3,000 before we got it in. But now we don't even put an offer. Now we don't even put numbers on it. Just make us an offer. And then we say, hey, is that your highest and best? You say, well, wait, I can go up 2 more thousand. No. Just there and then there. I would wholesale like crazy. Build up your capital and wait for the correction. And when the correction comes, you're going to be buying at 30 cents on the dollar. You're going to hold it. You're going to sell it for 60 to 75 cents on the dollar when the correction goes back up. That's kind of what I'm doing as well now too. I am buying 1 out of every 7 wholesale deals, but I am like I just finished 6. Like I have 6 rehabs, 4 have sold right now, and I'm going to be quartering cash, just waiting, because the last time there was a correction or a crash, I was broke. So now I'm going to take advantage of that when this time comes around and load up.
It's funny you said that, because Sharik stating the humble guy right underneath the flipping NJ. That's exact. Sharik, your first year, what did you do? You exactly did that, right?
Yeah.
Now, what did you do with that money? What did you do with that money?
How old are you now? 30.
Yeah,
30 for 30 rounds.
That's it. He's doing a thing called 30 and 30.
30 for 30.
Yeah.
The new ESPN. See, and that's the big thing about this business. Like, wholesaling is a very lucrative job, and if you do it right, it allows you to buy assets that will secure you for a long time. Right? So it's just the beginning of the long game.
Yep.
Right? You got a question?
Yes. My question is, how do you train your acquisition?
First you got to start with a good base, right? So you're not going to you got to find the right person to do so. Car sales guys that do pest inspections, are pretty good. You know if they got it or not. I mean, there is acquisition training things that people have, but it's just going to take time. Are you good at acquisitions?
Yeah. So, we were scaling our business. We brought on an acquisition manager. She does a great job. Deals we get versus what I'm looking for. So,
got to understand, as a leader, it's your fault. Right? That's one thing you have to acknowledge. As a leader, it is your fault that they're not that good. One, you selected her, right?
Yeah.
So she's either good enough to stay or not. And if she's good enough to stay, then you need to train her to that point. One thing you're going to do is you're going to take, you're going to go on Amazon and you're going to get personal recorders. They're about this small. And you're going to have them put it around their neck, stick it in their shirt, and then when they go on the appointments, they're going to record the entire appointment. And then you're going to come back whatever day of the week that you decide to have your meetings, you're going to replay that recording and you're going to critique her on things that she can do better. And I think your whole team should do that, and then everybody puts an input so that you guys can grow better.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Put the little recorder around their neck, and but yeah, so just train them and keep going, and you'll know. Obviously she's good enough. If you have to fire her.
Yeah, no, she's good. The biggest problem is
and that's your fault. I mean, as a leader, it's your fault because that's just a little bit of training to get them in a better ballpark. Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So, how would you go about adding a family member to your team? So, my brother's going crazy with support.
Yeah.
My thing is like, okay, shit, like, okay, when it comes to paying, it's going to be like 50-50.
No.
You know, right?
No.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
I just started.
Okay.
Probably about 3-4 months ago, I've been training on myself, and now I'm ready to go to Jersey and stuff like that.
So you feel like you took this journey so far by yourself alone, and you want to bring on your brothers.
Right, because he lives in Jersey, I'm in Brooklyn, so it's like you got a house.
You don't have to make him your partner.
Okay.
You can treat him just like you would do hire anybody else.
Gotcha.
Both of my brothers work for me. My older brother is my COO, and my younger brother helps with my flips and stuff.
Okay.
Neither one of them are my partners. Yeah, Sean, my younger brother, and Orlando, my older brother, he, I just paid him a salary.
Just make the salary. Okay.
And well, a salary plus how the company does. My younger brother gets a salary. My older brother gets a base plus how the company does.
Gotcha.
And you should probably keep it the same way. But you're just starting out. So say, hey, look, I give you a percentage of what the profit is, because what a lot of people don't understand is, yeah, I might make 20 grand this deal. You don't know that 7 has to go back in market. So don't count my pockets unless you gonna pay my business. So yeah, just give them what you're comfortable with. 20% of closed deals, depending on what part you place in it. Say, hey, look, if you go to a property, we lock it up. I give you 20% of the spread. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, it's your brother. If it wasn't your brother, you'd be doing like 5. Any other questions? I know we've been here for 2 hours. I got to get back to the city pretty soon. You had anything you want to add?
Not really. Just a lot of the nuggets that you gave out today, people don't normally give that kind of stuff out, right? Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if people put on to everything. Just been recorded and everything. It's gonna be free. Anybody wants to listen back to it. But it's very important that when you hear stuff like this, that you apply it. And one of the biggest things that you always emphasize is don't overcomplicate things. Just get started. Just do it.
Yeah. Don't think money. Don't try to spend money today.
Just do it.
Just go knock on doors, pick up that phone. That's it.
It's important. Just get started. That's right. Just do it.
Yeah.
So, but the statistics are. I'll get to your question next. The statistics are that let's just say there's 100 people in here. That 99% of you guys will not do anything with the information that you learned today.
Yep.
I mean, nothing. Like you just wasted 2 hours of your life for nothing. I know a lot of you guys saying, no, not me. But I promise you, if I checked up on you guys in 3 months, you guys are probably going to be doing something else.
But what does it take? Just that one, right?
Exactly. And that's why I say you're one deal away. I mean, what was this? I'm bad with names. Mr. Probate back there. Eli. Thank you. Your first deal. Tell me how it felt when you held that check, or the wire, or whatever you got.
I actually made something happen, and this is a
Yeah, so and that's why I say, you guys, you're one deal away. You're one deal away because he realized that he just made $21,000 and he did it by himself, and it's repeatable, and it almost makes you not employable. Right? You got that feeling coming down the pipeline? Yeah. Yeah. So just go out and do it, man. If I can do it, anybody can do it. You guys know my story. You guys know I didn't read my first book till I was 30. Like, so if I can do it, anybody in this room can do it. I'm not the smartest guy in here. I'm just persistent as shit.
Yes.
Right?
That's beautiful, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that this space here is something that you can come to and network with people. Right. I don't know his rules. I'm not just gonna say y'all come to the house or whatever.
Every Monday.
Yeah. Every Monday at 6:30, we hold a Flipstarters meeting. We all get together. We go over, same topics. We do fix and flips, rentals. We expand throughout the whole spectrum of real estate.
So a lot of these questions you guys are going to be asking, they're going to show you real life applicable New Jersey stuff. They're going to probably break down deals that you guys are doing.
Exactly. What's good and what's not good.
Right.
Talking you out of deals sometimes because it's a better choice. Right?
Yeah.
We'll be doing more things like this where people are up here, you can just ask questions. I feel like, even myself, I'm 20 years old. I know I was a wholesale again. I'm 20 years old. I dropped out of college, pursued entrepreneurship and real estate. Me just being here, it's a blessing, man. Having Max here, just being around Lenny, Ruben, all these guys every day. Because I'm always learning something. And how I learn just from being here is just doing it. Like he said, just going out and doing it. Like I'm just door knocking, not even knowing what a street foreclosure is. Door knocking. It was me and Benny was going out, just speaking to people. They were saying I was knocking on the door. I'm working with an attorney. You know what I mean? Just going out and doing it, and not even knowing how to do it. You know what I mean? You're gonna learn from your mistakes. So other than that, I mean, you'll be where.
All right, thank you for watching the video. Apologize for the sound quality, but I hope that you guys got something out of the video. I know that a lot of people did. I know I sure did. So I got to get out of here. Let me wrap this up, and don't forget to subscribe. Got no followers. Let's see where it goes.